What's good, guys? You're watching Everyday Struggle with Academics Wayno and myself, Nadeska. What's up, my friends? Ak, you have some extra energy this morning.
A lot of extra energy, man. Listen, it's Woo Wednesday, so I had to, get on up, listen to, Pop Smoke, Dior. You got to get Woo Wednesday going on good, get the blood flowing. You got to listen to, Foreigner. You got to throw it on, Got It On Me. You got to just make sure you're not lacking today, man. Shout out to the Big Woo. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke. Hey, listen, we used to call it Hump Wednesday. What was it called? Was it Hump Wednesday?
Hump
right?
Day.
Hump Day. Fuck that. It's Woo fucking Wednesday. And I'm in good spirits. Great spirits.
Well, thank you, Academics. I'm happy for that type of energy, man. Thank you for letting it be known that it's Woo Wednesday. I'm definitely going to throw on Pop Smoke today and have some fun.
You got to.
Absolutely.
You got to, man. You got to.
So we're going to talk.
Let's welcome to the party. Let's go.
We're going to talk a little bit about more about Dior in a few minutes because it is officially one of the 100 songs that defines the sound of New York City. But we'll get there. Let's just start with wrapping up yesterday. We were talking about Kanye West demanding to see everyone's contracts at Universal and Sony when he was saying he's not going to drop any more music until he's freed from his label deals. I know you guys are skeptical that rappers might not want to send Kanye their contracts, but Big Sean is our first volunteer. He did respond to Kanye on Twitter saying, "Feel free to start with mine." So maybe Kanye can figure out how to get Def Jam to drop Detroit on streaming services. Do you think Kanye can make some progress here?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny that Big Sean came on and said it first because he's probably still in a contract with Kanye, right? So there's two ways you could look at that. I don't think in a negative way at all, but yeah, I mean, I think that the whole thing with this Detroit shit, the mixtape, well, all these mixtapes that they dropped prior, they was just letting artists put them out as promotional tools for their albums, and they never planned on selling them. Right now, you see how they become like cult classics, and people love them, and they can only get, like, the only place you can get that shit is that Piff YouTube. Like, people can't access it like that. So, I mean, seeing Big Sean jump out and say that was cool, but, like, how many people are actually going to give Kanye their contract? Do they trust him enough?
Hey, what are you going to do with the information? I mean, shit, at this point, as I see he's tweeting at this very moment, as we're recording, about, hey, Universal doesn't want to, let me know how much my masters cost because they know I got the money to buy this and third. I kind of look at it like this for people who don't even understand the music business, right? So, like, I mean, Big Sean and his dealing with Kanye, I mean, Big Sean got a contract with Good Music. Right. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, I would think so.
We don't know how long the contract is, though, because he signed a while ago.
Okay, but it's safe to assume. I didn't look at the labeling on the last project that came out, which was obviously Detroit 2, came out about a week ago. But if Big Sean is someone to say, hey, look at my contract, it then goes to let people know that even though Kanye's within that system, the same type of deals that he was probably privy to, then probably signed, he probably also offered to artists that was on his own label.
Right.
And that then kind of says, wait, are you woke now, or were you just trapped in the same system that you only could offer the same deals? Because I'm pretty sure he's not trying to give some, out of this world, hey, you own all your shit. We basically just partner with you just on like some royalties or some shit like that type of deals to artists, because again, that's just not the music business model. So to hear Big Sean jump out and say that, I'm like, interesting. By the way, let's talk about Detroit, the first one that's not on streaming services. By the way, should we not bring up the fact that definitely one of the reasons it's now on streaming services, it wasn't counted as an album.
Right. Oh, you're
Should
right.
that be counted?
Right.
Should that be counted as an album? When we talk about slavery, right? If we're talking about artists being slaves, the music industry, especially in the last 10 years, and I would say probably early 2010s, we heard many artists complain about, hey, listen, I dropped this project, but they're considering it a mixtape. However, it's all original music, it's great music, it's timeless. They're making money off the music.
Right.
But it doesn't count as an album. They don't want to pay producers a certain type of way because it ain't an album. They also don't want to count towards my requirements because it ain't an album.
Right.
This is just something that is lost in translation when we look over the contract. All those things, I do believe that if Kanye West is really for the mission he's saying he's setting out forth to accomplish, he has to address. And not only addressed on the level of Universal or Sony, he has to address with the artists that are directly signed to him. He should have some power there, right? Again, if you're giving out these, whether it's a joint venture or you're giving out these imprints with, under Def Jam or under Universal or Sony, you have to give these motherfuckers a little bit of power that they could do some shit. So I have to say, Kanye, you could probably do some shit right now.
Right. I think the biggest point you made. I'm sorry, Nadeska. I think the biggest point you made is that shit not counting, because that's the finesse. You dropping shit because they telling you that you need to get hot, and then you look up, you done drop 3 mixtapes that didn't count to your one requirement as an album, and you got 5 albums. So if you got to do that every year or every couple years, then you're gonna be there for about 10 years. And when we look at Big Sean, he's been in his contract with Def Jam Good Music like for 10, 11 years. Right, so I listen, like you said, he got to address the home first.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of which, and I guess this jumps over to Warner a bit. When we saw YoungBoy, he was speaking about, hey, listen, I offered, this is his words directly. He said, I offered them the next 4 albums just for the return of my masters. By the way, it's apparent that record labels aren't in the business of giving you your masters. And if it wasn't Kanye, they're also not in the business of even trying to, quickly jump to the point where they're selling your masters. But with YoungBoy, his whole thing was, because I remember, I was like, what deal did you sign? You said he signed a 5-album deal. I said, oh, shit. Wait, hold up. You drop a project every 3 months. How do you have 4 more albums to go? They're only counting one of them as an album. He had to involve his lawyers to have an audit process to be like, hey, listen, no. There's a couple more albums in there.
Right.
And again, all these things matter. And if Kanye is going forward to just only get himself, and that's the thing with Kanye, right? Remember, I've always said, Kanye West will sometimes talk the fight of the people, but really, it's the fight for him. So as soon as he gets through them gates, he's like, all right, niggas, yo, get through on your own. Is he just trying to get off Universal by himself? Or is he legit trying to help out other people and be selfless and say, hey, artist A, artist B, let's see if we could get you out of your deal and you getting your masters? Because from everything I'm kind of seeing him say, he's talking that, yo, I got the money to buy myself, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, cool. So you might be the only one. What about everybody else if you're trying to make this a group effort? Right. We'll see.
All right. Let's see what happens. I mean, in terms of like artists trying to drop their mixtapes on DSPs, I know there's another artist, I would say, at least on Big Sean's level, who's been working to do the same thing. So it seems like a lot of people are going through the struggle right now with their labels. But more on this later. So this week, Vulture released a list of the 100 songs that define New York rap ranked. So as the title implies, a team of journalists got together and made this list. They feel like these are the 100 songs that they say, quote, capture a bigger picture of the sound of the city. So you guys should have the list in front of you, I believe, but I'll run through. So the number 1 song on here is Mobb Deep, Shook Ones Part 2, Grandmaster Flash, The Message second, Juicy, New York State of Mind, Cream, and Bobby Shmurda at number 6. So Dior is on this list as well at number 24. Rough Riders, Anthem. Some interesting picks here. What did you guys think about this list? Let's start with you, Wayno.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Shook Ones being number 1, but I kind of, when I was going through it, I'm like, I feel like Cream should be the number 1. I felt like Cream should be number 1, but then I felt like Juicy should be number 1. That's why it's so hard to like kind of compile these lists. And I also wonder a lot of times when people make these lists, where are they from? Because that tells me a lot about how you make the list. Like being a journalist and all that is cool, but I need to know if you're from the Bronx.
Go ahead.
No, for real.
Here we go.
I need to know if you, because I can't put together a list for Compton's top 100 records of all time. I can't, and I've listened to Compton music since I was a kid. Just can't do it. So for me, that's the biggest thing I was worried about with it. But ultimately, to see Pop Smoke's Dior get on there, I think that's really dope because that defines what the youth is into right now. And I think that's going to be a record. Without him, passing away, that was going to be something that was going to be a staple in New York hip hop culture. But yeah, it's like that number 1. I feel like
but
it could rotate a few times. Huh?
What would be your objection to Shook Ones being number 1? Just because it wasn't as sort of big and impactful as Juicy or...
That is... No, Shook Ones is one of the most... I mean, that was a single. You know what I mean? That is one of the most impactful records of New York all time. I just feel like, if we get into a conversation of it, that'll always change. Like you'll change that. One day it might be Where I'm From. The next day it might be Juicy. The next day it might be the Benjamins. Like the Benjamins is a big New York record. You know what I'm saying, like I think it's just so many records. That's what makes these lists so difficult. But like ultimately, I'm not upset at the list. I just told you I just need to know who these people was from that made it. I
Alright,
need
so we're gonna have to investigate
everybody
that.
who wrote on that list, they better be from New York. That's what I got to say. They better be from New York.
Oh my god.
See, Ag rolling his eyes over here. Okay, Auntie,
Yeah, what's the problem, Ag?
Tell us.
No, I'm only saying Wayno lives in Jersey with all that shit he's talking right
That's
now.
so recent, though.
He's
Hey,
lived.
what
he's
does my
living
hand say? Academics, Harlem.
That's okay, but
Right.
but you live very comfortably in Jersey. All that. Listen, because I know niggas like Wayno, I think he's arguing a form of life. Okay, because he's a Jersey resident. I won't even chime in on this list because New York people are the most stuck up, full of themselves when it comes to rap and what they have contributed to rap culture, but also what music is. They beef within the boroughs. Okay,
Absolutely.
They can't even get on a fucking united front. So for somebody who I'm not
Take
here
that hat
jacking
off,
New York.
Academics. Yes, you did. Take that hat off.
No, that's the Yankees though. No, it's the Yankees.
Wait, Ag, you
gotta
have
be-
an opinion on literally everything else that
Everything.
happens in music. You're not gonna tell me you don't have
Right.
an opinion here. Stop playing.
I appreciate some of these songs, but listen,
What?
if I haven't worn Timberlands enough, okay, I haven't worn my do-rag enough to actually get in and really engage on this type of debate because that's some New York shit. Again, hold on. As I look at the list, you know, like I'm of course, I look at Juicy. I love Juicy. You know, if I was gonna, that's why I won't even give a list. I'm looking at the most recognizable songs, the songs that meant a lot more to me. But that's why I say I can't argue with the New York nigga because they are a little bit different. You know what I mean? They're battling fully grown, you know what I mean, sewer rats. Okay, I've never ever dealt with that. Juicy, Cream. You know, I think Hot Nigga making the top 10 is a big step because truth be told, if you look at the rest of the rest of the songs on this top 10 list, historic classic songs, right. And that's pretty much one of the only contemporary songs we even saw make it into the mix. Annie Up, you know, like absolutely. Again, I think these are very
Annie Up could be number one on the right day. Annie Up could be number one on the right day. That's what
exactly. And niggas like Wayno, they'll argue every single fucking day over what should be number one that day.
Lean Back. Lean Back is on this list? Lean Back
it's on the list.
Oh my God.
Lean Back has to be on the list.
It is number 14.
Listen, still not a player by Big Pun got to be on that list. No, I'm telling. See, all right, but the reason why I'm saying this
is because, and this is exactly why, like, I think my biggest problem with the list, New York City don't need no journalists to come up with their own list. Nope. Okay, all right, no disrespect to journalists, but still, you just got to go out in the street and just start the debate up, and you could probably get a list. So again, I'm just gonna take myself out of it because New York niggas take everything a little bit too serious. And also the people from their respective boroughs, they also make shit competition within a competition. So I'm just going to excuse myself.
Academics, this is the first time I've heard you disclaimer yourself out of the topic. This is
the
first time I've heard you struggle.
Yeah, because the Queens niggas and the Brooklyn niggas, nah, I'm good.
But that's like, no, for real though, like, listen. That's like, or some real shit. If we put together a top 50 Atlanta songs, I could tell you what my favorite Atlanta songs is, but I can't make that list. I don't give a fuck how much I love the music. We cannot make that list. Yo, imagine you talking about New York. You imagine Atlanta niggas if we made a list about. Are you crazy? Like they would go insane.
Hey, I'm not even gonna lie. When Deska says, "Yo, Ack, why you like just moonwalking out of this conversation?" Because I got baited into a dumbass conversation that of course I hit my Googles and shit too, but still, it was like, yo, which borough has provided the better rappers, Queens or Brooklyn? And I fell down the fucking rabbit hole of trying to debate, and then after about like 30 to 45 minutes, I'm like, this shit is pointless. I'm not from either or, okay? This shit is pointless. I'm just gonna get out of this conversation. Y'all are arguing y'all pride. I was just arguing some shit I like. I'm good.
I always, so funny, just even on that, I felt like Brooklyn might have produced the best, but Queens have produced a higher volume of rappers. Like they got it. I feel like Queens makes more.
Oh my God!
No, I'm telling you now. Listen,
That one's an easy answer.
I go through these combos all the time.
Wayno, did you chime in on this list?
Fuck no, I didn't know the list existed till Monday, so I didn't know the list was, you know what I mean? I had no idea.
Well, if there was an official New York delegation, Wayno, you would obviously be part of it. So.
Absolutely.
Wayno wants the board seat.
Listen, I was born in the Bronx and raised in Harlem. I grew up in the Bronx and in Harlem. I definitely should have a seat on the board. Absolutely. And I traveled to all the boroughs growing up. I definitely should have a seat on the board.
All right, Ak, fine. You don't have to give your opinion on this one. Let's move on to some...
these New York niggas away from me. We in Jersey, okay? We got some cool shit over here, too. You know what I mean? Hopefully, like, in 10, 20 years, I could be on the board.
All right, so today for Hit, Break, or Wait on It, we're going to start with Lil Durk. He dropped a song called The Voice. So he released this when everyone thought he was going to release an album the same day that 6ix9ine dropped. This debuted at number 62 on the Hot 100. Probably going to be on his upcoming album. On this, he refers to himself as Chicago's Jay-Z. What do you guys think about this from Durk? Ak.
This song's fire. I like it. It's Durk. You know, Durk has two lanes that he does and he conquers really well. You know, for being a street nigga, Durk conquers the lane of appealing to women, especially, you know what I mean, I like to call it the ratcheteers, you know, but when he does get back on the street shit, like this particular song, and he's been saying constantly recently, yo, I'm the voice of the street. I'm pretty much going to show you how we could represent the trenches on a different level. And I thought that would meant the music would got more niche, or like, you know, you would kind of fall back under his mainstream, you know, appearance. You know, of course, he got the biggest look with the song with Drake. And to be honest, this song here is fire. Durk is putting out amazing music. We just got to really applaud him because his artistry has stepped up. If you listen to him while he was in Chicago doing L's Anthem, This Ain't What You Want, great songs. They're anthems. They're cool. They're good for drill. But to be honest, his song structure, his melody, everything that goes into being an artist was not as complex and also advances where he is now. He's growing as an artist, and I like this song. It's one of my favorite songs. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wish he had dropped an album if it has music of this quality. This was good.
Well, this is I agree with Ak. This is a really good song. I think when it comes to Durk, like I said, I mean, Lil Baby is clearly, you know what I mean, top runner for MVP this year, but we got to have Durk in it. Durk deserves a few votes from us. You know what I mean? He definitely deserves a few votes. I think that he stepped his game up on another level when by the time we get to 2011, 2012, he have a 10-year career and not even be 30 years old. You know, so I think that Durk, you know, he's always embodied like the streets and speaking for the streets, but you can see out of the pack of all the drill rappers from the early decade, the last decade, that he has risen above what everybody thought he would be. You know what I mean? Like what everybody else became. Like he's like the only one that became like a real mainstream artist. He's doing all the shit we thought Chief Keef might have been able to do. You know what I'm saying? So I mess with this song, but I'm waiting for another album. Even though he has one of the best albums this year.
Yeah, just because you waited to... The original and the deluxe really good. Hey, Wayno, I ain't gonna let you skip past addressing it. On this particular song, he calls himself the Chicago Jay-Z. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
That doesn't make me feel anyway. I think that I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna tell you why though. I try to set me up, but honestly, I think that just goes to show that, you know, he knows what Jay-Z means to his neighborhood, with how people hold Jay-Z in a high regard. So. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't think he was talking lyrically? You know what I mean? Like, yo, bro, listen, stop making it seem that
multis and, you know what I mean, double entendres.
Look, listen, you're not going.
Yo, maybe Durk lost 92 bricks. Who knows? Like, can we find out?
That's good. Ak is trying to make me into what I used to call a lyrical accountant. All right, like I'm not gonna be that today. I love what Durk is doing, but as far as the Jay-Z reference, so fucking what?
But I thank you. I like that question a lot. I'm going to pose that to you guys more often. How does that make you feel?
How does that make you feel?
I thought that would be a triggering point. Like, this nigga think he the Chicago Jay-Z. Where's his reasonable doubt? Where's his can I live?
Hey,
where's his dead president?
I would like to know how academics feels about his man being number one on the pure sales chart. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Wait, who we talking about?
we know what the fuck we talking about. We ain't going there today. We're not going there today. So let's keep it moving to the next song.
That's good. Could you translate what nonsense Wayne was talking about? Because I'm really lost.
Really? He was just trying to talk about the stats that you posted, which seem like they're reaching to everyone else. But our next song today for Brick Hit, or Wait on It, Trippie Redd featuring Busta Rhymes, I Got You, produced by Wheezy, apparently going to be on Trippie's upcoming album, Pegasus.
You go first on this one.
I rock with Trippie, and by the way, Trippie played me his whole album from his mansion ranch in California. He played me the whole album. I heard this very early on, and I'm gonna be honest. Even then and now, I was impressed by the fact that he knew who the fuck Busta Rhymes was. You know what I mean? Again, and with all due respect, Busta is a legend, but for a lot of these newer artists, especially like a Trippie who kind of does a little bit of emo music, he does a little bit of screamo, he does some rapping. Of course, we know he's paid a lot of respect to Wayne, and by the way, he could rap. To see him kind of fall back on an old classic, melody or hook, baby, if you give it to me, I thought that was very dope, and I thought it fit within the structure of the song. Didn't look like he was reaching to put Busta on the song. I think that was a good compliment. I actually like the song. By the way, I like a lot of what Trippie played me off that album. Again, he's the definition of just putting the work in, putting the music out, and he's no gimmicks.
That might have been a part of clearing the record as well, putting him on it. But
you think Busta strong-armed this way on the record?
Nah. But nah,
Wait, no, give us the exclusive, brother.
Nah, but honestly, remember, when I first started, when we first was critiquing Trippie, when I first got on the show, I wasn't really too much of a fan of Trippie, but as time is going on, I really fuck with Trippie a lot. And then just learning more about his story. If you pay attention when he talks about his brother, he talks about how his brother used to put him on a lot of shit, not just him being in the street, but music and taking care of him. So it's like, we look at Trippie as like this young kid, but we also got to remember a lot of the songs that we love came out when we were 7 to 8 years old and 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? When these records is dropping, I'm thinking about Trippie being a young kid and he remembering that and saying, yo, let me flip that or let me do that over. I like the way he did it, kind of way like when Tory did Sprung and threw T-Pain on it. You know what I'm saying? I think it made sense. But yeah, Trippie is definitely on his way and he's been growing steadily. I hope that he's not in a situation where he's putting out shit and it's not counting, because he's been putting out great bodies of work.
Yo, question for you guys. When you're with an artist and they're previewing new music, if you don't like the songs that you're hearing, do you still lie and say that you like it, or what do you do? I feel like that's such an awkward situation sometimes.
Well, when artists usually play me music, it's over FaceTime. By the way, which was I wouldn't call it odd. I talked to YNW Melly, who's incarcerated. He's in jail. He sung me a whole album, a cappella. He said he made it in jail, which I thought was just extremely talented. But I guess if you're really thinking this is whack or mid, whatever. But me, a non-reaction usually means it doesn't move me. Again, when you're hearing something over the phone for the first time, I think you would really have to be bold and be like, yo, that shit's whack. But a non-reaction, it doesn't really move me, which means, hey, I might need a couple more listens, or shit I might need to listen to in person or a different setting. Usually when you hear some shit that you actually like, wow, this is dope. And while Trippie was playing me a ton of songs, there were some songs I'm like, okay, whatever. And then there were some songs I'm like, whoa, when is this coming out? Send me this. And that's usually the ones that, I think that's how he kind of gauges it too. Okay, yeah, he was excited for this. He didn't care too much about this. That's how I do it. I don't know how Wayne will do it. How you do it when Meek call you and he's like, he's screaming on the phone, hold on, wait a minute, he's playing a new song. What do you do?
So stupid, yo.
You always gotta turn some of the joke. But since you going there, I'll tell you about when Meek was doing championships and he told me to come to the studio. He first asked me, he's like, what do you want to hear from me? He's like, what do you want to hear from me? And I told him I told him that I wanted an instruction manual for a kid to survive. Not only that, I want to hear what are you going through in your life that I don't already know? And then when he played me certain records, it was he would just ask me what do you think about this one versus this one? He played me the Cardi B record and then he played me the record with Melly. And he's like, which one you think I should keep? I'm like, the Cardi B shit is hard. I'm like, but this other joint with the girl Melly is crazy. So he I think he played them for so many people and they kept giving him double, opinions on it. he just ended up using both of them. But like for the most part, if it's something that I'm not feeling, I'll compare it to something that I am feeling. Like yo, like all right, if you play me 3 or 4 joints and you play me another 3 or 4 that I loved, I'd be like, yo, the first 3 or 4, you need to stick in that realm. Those other records, I don't know too much about those. Because it's a very funny place to be in. I mean, me and him got a more closer relationship, so I can be more honest. But I don't really be in the studio with artists I don't know like that.
I remove it from Meek because you know him somewhat. And by the way, you're definitely a fan. And Meek is a really good artist, to be honest.
Yeah.
But let's say, because of your A&R gig, like you in the studio with, a rapper that you might like a couple of his joints, but he's playing you a bunch of unreleased shit. Are you in there like a bobblehead like...
Oh, no.
Because to be honest, sometimes the artist's watching for that. Like, bro, is he just nodding to everything? Or does he have a still face? Hold on. Y'all want to know a quick story?
There's no such thing as a quick story with you.
You ask me a question and throw a story into it.
No. Real talk. I remember X's mom invited me to come listen to his album, and I felt so privileged to stand third. But here's the thing. And I don't know how Wayno deals with this. Well, actually, I think Wayno smokes. I don't smoke.
I don't smoke.
So much. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Join the club. Yo, there was so much fucking weed smoke in the shit. I was asleep. I think I was high. I think I fell asleep while listening to X. I felt so bad. They were like, they're like, yo, you good? I'm like, oh shit, we're listening to music. That's another thing. Yo, the atmosphere where you listen to music in is so fucking like special. Like, I don't know how artists sit in the studio and smoke weed all day.
Yeah, because it's like their comfort zone. So there's that, and on the flip side, it's what you were just asking Wayno. Sometimes you're sitting in a very small room with an artist and their team, and they're playing your project. And for me, it's always very uncomfortable because they are watching you. Am I supposed to be bobbing to every song when really I'm just trying to listen? I much prefer to, like, before an interview, have a private stream of the album, just like lay down, put some headphones on and listen. But Wayno, it's your job to like listen and give feedback, which I find very, very difficult on the spot. So
how do you fake it? I
asked you a question that I forgot, but with any other artist, even someone you're not close with.
So when I'm especially when I'm working. So when I'm working, I'm more in a position of my critiques. Like we're working together to get the best product. So yeah, I hit tons of songs that I might not be favorable to, but I just say like, yo, listen, what's the direction that we're going? So there's two things. Like when I'm working, it's about the direction and what we're trying to deliver is the product of the album. When I'm sitting there on recreation time and somebody's just playing me shit, I'm not just sitting there nodding every day. I'm not scared of these niggas. I'm not scared of nobody.
Stop
I'm not
it, Wayno. Sada Baby starts playing this new killer anthem. You're nodding. You're like, okay, yes. After they wrapped about 30 guns, you're like, yes, this is fire. Let's keep it going.
Listen, let me tell you about Sada Baby. Sada Baby sends me 10 killer anthems at a time. So I have to pick the best killer anthem out the 10. You know what I mean? So when I pick one, he knows that I'm not fucking with the other ones, but I'm just favoring this one over the other ones. So it's like that's our process of elimination, what I say and what he agrees on. But then when it's like when I'm just chilling with an artist or something, I don't chill with too many artists I don't know. You know what I mean? But if I am in the studio with somebody and they playing me shit, I'll listen, but I'm not like yes man and shit. I'm nobody's yes man.
Parties have you been to? Because I've always really
hundreds. Infinite. That's all I did for like the first 10 years of my career. Go listen to albums, write a preview, go check out concerts, stay up all night writing about it. The shit is exhausting. Like one of my favorite ones I've ever been to was for Cole, just because he let us sit in the auditorium and put on headphones so you could actually just listen to the project. Usually they're like serving you liquor, people are getting drunk. I saw Kid Cudi storm out once because people were getting too twisted, or you're sitting in a tiny studio somewhere listening, and it's just, I feel like it's just so uncomfortable. Personally, I'd rather just get the stream, but that's just
because Flex told me I never been to one.
We should probably finish up this topic. Been doing this a long time, Ak.
But yeah, he is critiquing everybody.
No, I don't need to be.
No, Ak, let's not go. We gotta go because we can't go. Don't go long.
You don't need to get me drunk to make me say your music is good. Okay, that sounds like Bill Cosby.
You're drunk.
You already be drunk by yourself.
No, but
right, exactly.
you want a margarita, and you want to hear track number 4? No, motherfucker.
And then they get mad. When you're talking and not listening. But anyway, a couple more songs before you go for Brick Hit or Wait on It. T.I. featuring Young Thug, Ring. A few years ago, of course, they collaborated on About the Money. Excellent song. What'd you guys think about this one?
This one is a hit. Of course, it's not all about the money. It's not that same one. Like that's gonna be a top. I think that's the top Atlanta 100 song or whatever. But I did like this one a lot.
I'm gonna go wait on it again because I'm comparing it to their last hit. I don't feel this is in that same realm. I'm gonna say wait on it. It could materialize in something. I do think Ti and Thug have a good chemistry.
All right, our last one, YB and Namir featuring Yo Gotti, Pop Like This. So this is the latest song we've heard from Namir since he announced that YB and crew was over.
I'm gonna keep it true with you. I see why Corday dipped. Listen, this ain't the one, but I see Namir trying, but I do think there needs to be a little bit more evolution in the music he's putting out. It sounded generic a little bit, and I don't think generic shit is what's gonna make him. You know, he said he was trying to put YB on his back. You ain't gonna put it on his back dropping 15 a game. You need to drop 40.
Yeah, I mean, for this, it's cool. I say wait on it because, sometimes you got to, if the fans support it, it could materialize as being something. For me, it's not the best record I've heard from Namir. Even when him working with Gotti, I think it's cool, but I like to see him work with more of his peers, his age, as opposed to working with Gotti.
All right, so real quick before we go, maybe you guys know something about this that the rest of us don't. So it seemed like Uzi called out Yachty on Twitter recently saying, Yachty, you know what you did in 2018? Yachty responded, what I do, and Uzi simply wrote JT, which we're assuming is JT from the City Girls act, Gossip Man.
I don't know what's
do you have
going
any
on.
idea what's happening here?
I believe Yachty wrote for JT and also Young Miami of the City Girls. I can imagine they had a close relationship. I do know that Uzi is dating JT, but I'm just going to assume on face value that maybe something that's behind the scenes, very personal shit. But if you ask me, only thing that Yachty did was write hits for them. I think Yachty's a very talented writer. I think that's really slept on for Yachty, and I hope that whatever is going on with Uzi and JT, or whatever is going on within QC, Yachty doesn't, he's not kind of almost forced to stop writing for the City Girls, because I do think part of their identity and some of the records that have worked came from Yachty's pen, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, I didn't know they were dating. I don't want to get in anybody's business or relationships ever, so sorry I asked. I thought it was just a business thing. Thank you for letting us know, academics, and I think our time for today is up. Guys, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle, and we'll see you
I'm just here to deliver a
tomorrow
message. Black men don't cheat. You know what I mean? Pray for Offset. It's my guy.